Ready?
Mhm.
Hello, everyone. So, as usual, welcome to everyone who's been here before, and welcome to all our new people. And also, today, we welcoming a special guest. And I teased you with that before, and I didn't wanna let you know on the secret because I just wanted to make sure that it's happening because the lady that's joining us is really busy and I wanted to make 100% sure. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest for today. And I'm just gonna mute everyone. Amy and Martin, can you guys unmute yourself just because I clicked that button? So today we have Amy Palko, and you probably know her because she is really big on YouTube. And one of the reasons I invited her to join us, besides the fact that she is one of us humans of Westknits MKAL, and she is working on this show, another reason is that Amy is really have done a ton of Stephen West shows. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Have you ever counted how many you've done?
No.
And you have a show wall, like you've done the whole display of shows, so you have them all like displayed in your house.
Yeah, well, we say all, but actually I've had to package some up and put it in a drawer because it was getting to the point where I couldn't find anything. So.
Well, tell us about your love affair with Steven's designs. Like, when did it start?
Oh.
What gets you to admire him so much?
Oh, well, do you know, I think just whenever I feel like my love for knitting starts to dip, sometimes we get like a really like tricky project or, something's not working and it feels like a bit of a slog. And then after that, you want to cast on something that feels like a party on your needles. And
Right.
at that point, you go, I really need a Stephen West shawl.
And you did a presentation about the Stephen West shows, and you were helping people to choose colors for their sets, right? For their kids. Do you think it's a difficult thing? So there was a Greater Boston yarn crawl recently, and I went to my favorite store, the Unruly Stitch, and the owner asked me to put together some kits for Go Go Dynamo. And let me tell you, it's like super difficult. Do you find it difficult to put those colors together?
I honestly, I didn't find it too difficult. I think I just found it like a lot of fun. Although part of that assignment was it was a talk that I gave at the Scottish Yarn Festival, and they gave me like the morning, like to go around all the stalls and put together kits for some of the shawls that I had brought along. And so I had quite like a limited time period. So it felt a bit like supermarket sweep. You had to like run around all the stalls and just go, I'll take these ones and these ones. And then putting them together and just kind of showing people kind of what the options are.
So
Because I've
what's your approach to the color, choosing those colors that go together? Like, how do you go about it?
Yeah, well, I quite often take inspiration from other places and particularly like printed fabrics. I think printed fabrics are a really good way to kind of pull together a palette because you can see already, from a piece of fabric whether it is kind of high contrast or low contrast. Is it cool palette? Is it a warm palette? Are there some pops? Why are those pops working? And how can you kind of play with those in your own knitting? So I think actually printed fabrics are actually a really fun way to get some inspiration. But then I think inspiration is all around us. So, perhaps you have a favorite piece of art, or perhaps there's a particular walk that you love to go on and you see this particular piece of architecture. Well, maybe all of those colors start to influence your choices and how you put together a palette of colors.
Musical.
Yes.
It's funny because I didn't think about fabrics, but that's a really good tip.
I've never thought about that either because I've said I always struggle with the color choice. So I often tend to go team kit because I feel like Stephen knows what's coming. So I feel safe that I know my colors will work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not really sure I can think about how those colors work, but actually something like a fabric is a really great idea to be able to push yourself out of your color zone as well and actually see the fabric and then try and pair the colors up.
Absolutely, because you know when you're creating a shawl, you are essentially creating a swath of fabric, you know. So if you've already got a piece of printed fabric, then it kind of gives you a sense of, you know, what that's going to look like. And with the mystery knit along, though, of course, you don't really know kind of what the quantities of certain colors are going to be or that kind of thing. So, you know, that can be a little harder to choose what your color placement's going to be in advance before you know what the design is. But I think that's all part of the mystery. That's part of the fun.
And how many mysteries have you done?
So I think I started in 2019, which is this one here, the Starflake.
Same here.
And then I did the Slipstravaganza, and then I did Shawlography, and then I did Twists and Turns. And then last year I went to Rhinebeck, and that completely threw off my whole MKAL mojo. And by the time I got back, all the clues were out and I was so lost that I thought, right, I'm just going to draw a line under this one and I will start again next year. So yes, I didn't do last year's one, but I had done all the ones since 2019.
Well, you know how like we all have our go-to colors. And with Steven, he gives us this freedom of trying something like that's maybe crazy for us, right? And we never considered using. How do you go about choosing colors? Like, do you think, oh, I already have done this like 2 years ago, I want to go somewhere else, or do you gravitate to the same color combinations?
I think I try and do something a little bit different. And I certainly think about kind of what's in my wardrobe as well. Because, you know, I want to be able to make this shawl that's very easy to wear. Do you know, I want to be able to pull it out and for it to go with a variety of different things that are already there in my wardrobe, whether that's my jumpers or whether that's my winter coat or, you know, whatever it is. I want to make sure that it's kind of referencing some of the colors that are already there. But also I really want to have fun too. So sometimes I'll just like throw in another color and go, what the hell?
Well, you know how like sometimes after the MKAL is over, there were like some secondary knit alongs for like socks for the leftover materials of the MKAL. What do you do with all your leftovers from Stephen West?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, what I can tell you is I don't knit socks because I am a terrible sock knitter.
Oh, you do knit socks, like black socks and knee-highs.
I knit kilt socks for yes, very growing children with 2 big feet and long legs. So that happens on a very rare basis. That's fulfilling maternal duties. But yes, as for joy, I don't tend to pick up socks. But I tend to try and use those pieces in other projects. I think Stephen West shawls are actually really good for bringing in some of your scraps and things, and particularly mohairs and things. I love to try and explore kind of, you know, what we're going to do with this half ball of mohair. And certainly I've got a couple of projects actually, which then use like one particular skein of mohair, and then it kind of crops up in other places. So yeah, I try and find other kind of scrappy projects to try and weave them in.
I still say at one point I want to make a vertices unite, and I think I'm going to gather all the off bits from other shawls, and then I've got the Starflake section, the shawlography section, the slipstrap.
Nice.
I think that would be quite cool because you can stripe the colors, but it's only in a section, so you don't necessarily have enough. I was actually tidying up some corners last night, and I found all the offcuts from last year. It's not enough to make a pair of socks, or I don't think to make a hat, but actually a smaller section in a vertices unite or something. I think you'd almost the shawl within a shawl. I think that would look really cute. It's another one to add to the list at some point.
Well, talking about
the ever-growing queue.
So Martin and I are on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? Like I'm mostly gravitating to do one project at the time. Which Martin changes me over the years, and I'm more and more finding myself doing like 2 or 3. But then Martin has, how many you have on your list at the moment?
I kind of lost count because I've lost the list, but it's probably about 14 or 15.
Right. Where are you in this spectrum?
I'm probably I'm on the lower end. I used to describe myself as a monogamous knitter, and then I realized I was lying, and I wasn't actually a monogamous knitter at all. But I tend to have a relatively low number on the needles. So, for example, at the moment, I have a jumper project and I have 2 shawl projects on the needles and a crochet project. So actually three shawl projects. Just remembered another one.
Are you trying to stay on time with the clues like as they come out? Does that stress you at all? Or are you like embrace your pace kind of girl?
I'm very much an embrace your pace, but then I'm quite obsessive within my knitting anyway. So yes, I am kind of keeping up with the clues. This was a slightly trickier week for me on that front because we went away for a long weekend and we did lots of walking in the countryside and things, and that wasn't terribly conducive to brioche knitting. So that had to get that had to get relegated for when we got home from that, and I sat and knitted in the pub in the evenings. But that didn't mean that I got a particularly large amount of knitting done. So I've been playing catch up today. But generally, I think people just need to go at the pace. I think there's a lot of kind of competition that I think sometimes people feel, and there's that urge to crack on and keep up. But actually, I think the invitation is just to sit back and enjoy and enjoy your own rhythm with it.
Right. Can we see yours?
Yes, absolutely. So here it is. So my yarn this time is from Ginger Twist Studio, which is my local yarn shop. Jess does the dyeing there as well. And so this is her sheepish sock base, which is an 80% BFL, 20% nylon base. And the 2 colors are called Lallybroch and Poison Apple. And so this is mine just now. So try and see if you can see it. There you go. That's a bit better. So we've got this kind of really kind of rich sort of berry shade contrasted with this kind of variegated orangey red. And then my mohair there was a dark rose, which you can see at the back there. Right. So it's a bit more of a subtle mohair there.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it there.
Are you good friends with Brioche?
I love Brioche. In fact, my first Stephen West shawl was a Brioche shawl. And I chose it because I chose him essentially for that project because I know his instructions are so good and so clear. And so I had never knitted brioche before, but I knew I really wanted to learn how to do it. So I knitted the Excuse Me shawl. Now, this is not a beginner brioche project. I do not recommend it as your first brioche project. But I got there, and it's one that I wear still on a very, very regular basis.
Yeah.
Martin, I saw you were braving the brioche surgery and very successfully.
I have done so much brioche surgery this week. I've kind of got over I'm scared of fixing brioche. I'm looking, I'm going, oh, what the hell have you done now? And I'm just embracing get the crochet hook out, try and fix it. There's one error in there that I'm not going to point out that I don't think you'll ever see it. There's no shawl wrap. It looks fine. I've just done something and I'm just leaving it there. Like, you can get too cocky. And I fixed the odd one where I had it was wrapped around the front, not around the back. And so I fixed those individual ones, but there's something, and I was like, it's not noticeable. You know it's there. No one else will. If they're that close to you, they're probably too close. Just leave it, because there was a danger that I think I crossed over a stitch. I was like, there's a danger that there's a lot to unravel. And I'm like, no, just it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the video that you posted with the bubbles? Like last night, I was stressing for you. What was going on with all those?
So I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, right? And I don't understand what happened because my stitch count was right. And I checked it when I knitted it, I undid it all. But Ted mentioned it when I saw him on the weekend. So Ted got ahead. He did the second bubble, did the second brioche, and then he noticed that his bubbles weren't aligned. And if you look at Stephen's pattern, you have the bubble here, then the next bubble is offset, so the center. But what happened with mine was exactly what happened with Ted. Followed the pattern, and his bubbles were off. So I noticed it last night, and I kind of, as I was knitting it, I was like, "Is that right?" And I'm like pulling the stitches. Yeah, that looks right. And I got all the way to the end, and I sent it in the group chat, and they were all like, "Yeah, they're all same as Ted's. They're all off center." And I was like, I think I could myself as I was going that it would all be fine if I just got to the end of the row, and it wasn't. So I sat on it for 5 minutes, made a cup of tea, and I said to Mark, I was like, right, can I live with it or not? He went, you need to undo it because you won't be able to live with it. So I basically.
So wait, you had to basically like pick up all those stitches that you dropped. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I went back, I got a crochet hook, which I've been using for the brioche, and I basically went back. In fairness, I watched Married at First Sight while I did it, so it took me 1 hour and 10 minutes. That was all to do the entire row. Basically, knit back each of the stitches, and then I used the crochet hook, laddered up, kept going, and I went all the way back to the end. That was last night, and it was about 10:15 then. I was like, right, I've got back to where I was. And then Mark went to London this morning, so I was awake at 5. So I sat there 5 till 7, and I redone the bubbles. The bubbles now sit correctly, and I've started the next brioche section. So I've just finished row 2, the second pass of row 2. So I haven't it's not been too bad. I didn't get too far behind because of it.
Right.
Now happy that I've done it, but it's not mentioned in the pattern anyway. Like it doesn't say make sure they're off. I think if you follow the pattern, they should be.
Yeah.
Don't understand what happened because I definitely had to, instead of the knit, whatever it is it knit 7 at the beginning? I ended up knitting 4, and then I had 3 stitches left over at the end. So I kind of decreased those out. Then I added, so I it's fine, and I made it work because I knew what I was trying to knit. So I did what I knew I needed to rather than following the pattern. So I don't know how it happened, but it basically happened to me and Ted. So I'm basically saying it's not me.
What's your approach to mistakes? Like, are you forgiving your mistakes, or are you like can't live with them kind of?
Yeah, I think I'm with Martin. I think you have to decide, can I live with this? Can I be happy with this? Or is it going to be something that every time I look at it is like, that is all I see? And actually, I think one of the things that I've really learned, over the years is actually once I have finished a project and it is complete and I've worn it a few times, I then go to show somebody the mistake. And do you think I can find it? That mistake that loomed so large while I was knitting it? No, I cannot find it anywhere. So going from that, I've become a lot more forgiving, I think, of my knitting. I actually do have a little mistake in my brioche where I've got a strand of mohair that comes over the front of my brioche rib, which I only noticed when I was coming to the end of the second brioche section. I was like, it's and also because it's kind of the same color as the BFL, it's really very not noticeable at all. And so I thought that if I drop that down, I'm going to make a bigger mess of that than just leaving it as it is. And I think that's a decision you have to come to as well.
And that's because I've said I'm not a big brioche fan. I love the fabric and I love looking at it. I think it's gorgeous to look at, but I just don't have the confidence to fix it. I only hesitate with it because if I make a mistake, I'm going to struggle. Whereas actually when I did the mystery socks in the summer, I made a mistake on the heel for the 3rd time. It's like, no, right, try and fix it before you just rip it back in disgust. And I fixed it. I was like, actually, go slow, crochet hook. It's actually all right. So the mistakes I've had so far in this, and it's just lack of concentration that I'm not putting the yarn over or whatever in the right place. But then that one that's there now, I kind of was like, you're tempting fate now. You've done well. Pat yourself on the shoulder. You've had a good run at fixing the brioche. Don't try and run before you can walk. Let's do some more brioche, and then let's worry about trying to fix. Because I'd been laddering all the way down. It's a lot to pick, and I was already above the garter stitch. So and I was like, no, I'm just.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just have to kind of cut your losses, I think.
Absolutely.
I went to a workshop once at a yarn festival, run by Julie Knits in Paris, Julie Dubrow.
She's so fearless with the brioche. She just like
exactly
out and then she fixes it.
Yeah, and that's what the whole workshop was about, fixing brioche mistakes. So she showed us she talked us through what the construction of brioche fabric is. How you can fix your brioche knits, how you fix your brioche pearls, how you fix your increases or decreases if you're supposed to have added one in or you've added an extra or whatever. And then the final task was called "The Cat Got My Knitting," which was when you took all of everything off the needles and you kind of made a bit of a mess of it, and then you had to try and put it all back together again. And actually, by the end of the workshop, we could all pretty much do that. And then, of course, I think we all went home and promptly forgot exactly how to do that. And now I have to look it up on YouTube every time, like everybody else. But that's fine.
That's an amazing workshop.
Yeah, that's an amazing workshop.
It was. If you get a chance to go to one of her workshops, I highly recommend it. She is super smart and just the consummate teacher. So.
And I love her brioche designs. Like I've been testing for her. It always feels like a privilege to be able to test for her. I love her designs. Do you have any predictions? And I like asking that, but since we have you here, we'll put you on the spot. Do you have any predictions of where we're going in the next 2 clues?
Oh, well, do you know, I was looking at the shape of it. I was looking at some people's completed clue 2s, and they've got it on those very, very long needles, which I don't use, so I don't have the length of needle to kind of pull mine out into its fullest expression currently. But it kind of looks a little bit like, he has these clockwork patterns from kind of earlier on in his design career. And so it's quite a similar sort of shape to that. So I think we're going to continue expanding out the way rather than attaching anything to any edges. And then the other thing that I was thinking was, well, maybe it's just wishful thinking. I really want some bobbles. I want to do some mohair bobbles.
Bobble.
I was keeping my fingers crossed that we're gonna be done with the bubbles for the next.
Not bubbles, bobbles. Like the bubbles.
Yeah.
I was thinking because I've got some mohair that's the same color as my poison apple yarn, and I was thinking it would look really nice held with the poison apple for some bright sort of contrast bobbles against your main color fabric. But yes, we'll see.
Martin, do you feel like we're gonna have
I said wingtips, didn't I? So I was wrong. We've carried on this section. So I'm going to stick with wingtips.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're right for the 3rd clue with the wingtips.
Yeah.
I don't think this will happen, and I am going to go out on a limb, but I wonder, have we ever had double brioche? There's always a week of brioche. I feel like we can do that now because I got a crochet hook and I know brioche. I'm all right.
What I would say is, just sort of historically, the 3rd clue is quite often a shorter clue, because it's almost like it's a bit of a catch-up week. And it's just before you get to the border, and the border is always quite often a bit more epic. But in the lead up to that, the 3rd week tends to be a slightly now don't take my word for it, because now that I've said it, I've totally jinxed it. But
dip stitches last year though, so the dip stitches on the border was intense, but the 3rd when we had the wraps, they definitely took a long time. I thought they took a long time first. Irina was still done in week 3, so
Well, I'm hoping that it's gonna go Amy's way, because I'm going to Rhinebeck Friday morning. I'm there till Sunday night. I'm coming back basically like Sunday night. Monday, I'm doing laundry and hopefully posting Rhinebeck recap because otherwise it's not going to happen. And then Tuesday, I'm flying to visit my daughter in North Carolina. And then I'm going to my parents, from my daughter to my parents, and I'm going to do 2 Zooms, one in North Carolina, one in Florida. And then, so it's going to be like so much travel that I don't know how much progress I'm going to make.
I'm not listening to you at all, right? Because you said last week, I'm not starting week 2 because I'm going to do my jumper. And you've done your week 2. And week 1, you said you hadn't started and it was going to. So I'm not listening to this. Oh, I've got lots of travel plans. I'm not doing it till after right back. Because you'll be standing on the hill. You'll have it done. And before I know it, you'll be messaging me going, I finished. So I'm not listening to any of these. Oh, I'm really busy anymore because you seem to find extra hours a day that I can't.
But it's not my fault because it's so addictive. Like once you start, you just want to do one more row, right?
It is one more row. I find I'm actually into the brioche bit now, and I'm like, so once we're done here, I've got an hour and a half before Mark gets home. So I've prepped food. We're sitting down, another couple of brioche. I don't think I'm going to finish it tonight, but I'm going to try and make a dent in the brioche this evening.
Wait, can we talk for a second about the, is it fruit cake, Christmas cake? What do we call it? Say it again.
Christmas cake. It's like a fruit.
Amy, are you doing Christmas cakes as well?
No.
I'm so tempted.
It's kind of my traditional thing. My grandfather used to do them, and then I've now taken over making them for the family. So in October, so during Vlogtober, I always do the get Delia's cookbook from the 90s and soak the fruit and then make the cakes, 4 hours, low and slow in the oven. But now it's a bit of a community thing on my channel because folks now get the cookbook or get a recipe and start joining in and make it in October and feed it November, December, ice it. So, yeah, I like a traditional fruit cake.
Yeah, no,
and
fair
that's
enough.
like the beauty of it, right? Like you're going to different people's channels and you don't know what you're going to learn from them. So like from Martin, you think he's talking about knitting and crocheting, but suddenly you make a cake with him together.
October traditions.
Oh, guess what happened last night?
What?
I got to 15,000 subscribers.
Oh,
thank you.
Congratulations.
I was so happy this morning. I woke up and there was 15,003. So
well done, you. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you who subscribed. Yeah, and while you're at that, for those of you who are newly watching this as a replay, just hit that like and subscribe button. And also don't forget to subscribe to Knit 365 blog. And Amy, what's the name of your channel?
The Meaningful Stitch. Mm-hmm.
So go to Meaningful Stitch and check out Amy and click that subscribe button there as well. Let's talk to you guys. Tell us about your progress. If you want to show us where you are, just raise your hand. It's in the react button. So just raise your hand and show us where you are. Catherine, join us.
Hi, I like to go first because I'm at work and the phone can ring at any second. But I am on row 8 of the second brioche section. So I've successfully done both of them, and this second section I did not have to look at the video. So I'm very pleased with myself. I have stitch markers every 20 stitches, and I go back because when I didn't, I got cocky. I had to unknit a whole row to fix. And I make sure that I've got a hug, a single, a hug, a single, a hug, a single. So I do them in clusters of 3, 10 clusters of 3 strands. So it's either, depending on which one you're doing, you've got the hug first and then the single, or you've got the single first and then the hug. But there's 10 of these clusters. And if I don't have 10, then there's a problem. And like once I had my mohair split, and I had to go back and reconnect it. But other than that, I've been pretty good. But it takes me about 35 minutes a row because I am counting. But so far, it's been successful. So this is the back with the purple mohair held double, and then this is the front. Hang on, with the black a little bit further. You can still see the purple both ways.
That mystery kit is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you were concerned about like not having enough purple on the front, but it's actually
Well, I masked it, and I should have 26 or 27 grams left after I do this double purple. So that's still like a whole ball of Steven's mohair. So I can still do it. And the more I looked at other people's, the more I liked the ones that were symmetrical. So there's 4 rows of turquoise mohair in the bubble. The middle 4 rows of each bubble is got turquoise mohair, and it kind of like brightens the turquoise a little bit. So there's that, and the middle triangle, or sorry, the middle semicircle has mohair mixed with the turquoise mohair with the. So I have a little bit of. I have about 40 grams of turquoise mohair, and I'll have about 26 grams after this of the purple mohair.
How was How was laddering down the mohair?
It was not as bad. Like it was slow, and every once in a while I had to pick the hairs apart. But I because I find the laddering down extremely stressful, I was actually happy that it wasn't just zooming, so that if something went wrong, I could stop it. And so, oh, by the way, I have my fruit, Martin, for the mohair we're going to be soaking on hopefully Thursday night. And I have to do some yard work, but I hope to get caught up by Thursday night so I can start Clue 3 on Friday. But that's where I am. And I'm just loving, these are my colors. I love all of them, and I sit and stare at them. Almost at the end of every row, I have to sit and look at where I am.
No, those are beautiful. I'm actually really excited to see your shawl specifically.
I'm thinking maybe we're going to go inside like this part for Clue 3. Like fill it in a little bit. And then week 4 would be the border. That's what I was just wondering. Of course, I have no idea.
I've got a raw edge. If you think that it's not like an I-cord edge.
It's not perfect, but it's the perfect pick up a stitch edging.
That's very true. Well, thank you. Maya, do you want to join us?
Hi, everyone. I finished the clue. Was a lot of work. So I'm using mohair double in my brioche. I'm using I have two different colors. I don't know where they are, but you can see
you have like a darker blue and lighter blue.
Yes, I have like a mint and a teal. So I'm using mint double here, and then 2 different colors here.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully I will use mohair in another section, and then I will use the darker color double there. So I think it's gorgeous.
You use the main color for like besides the mohair was instead of the complementary color, right?
Yes.
But how are you with the main color? How much yarn do you have left over after finishing this clue?
I did not wait yet, but I can go around. That's what I have left from 100 grams. So
okay, you want to see what I have left? I have left 3 grams. But I'm not panicking yet, right? Because first of all, I have the whole skein of it for the second and third clue. But also, if you remember, I had this like matching color mohair. Right. So I figured like if worst case scenario, I'm just gonna swap the main color for mohair somewhere. But yeah, like I'm practically out of the first color.
So much more of one of your colors than I had after clue 1.
That's my contrast color, but I didn't use it for brioche. So
great.
I've still got to do the brioche and the final bubble, and I'm still on ball one.
So
It's going to be interesting to see the final.
I can't wait to see the clue tomorrow, and then I'm debating if I'm going to take it with me to Rhinebeck but it's getting too big to
It's big.
carry. So
Like I'm taking it with me, but I don't think I'm going to have time to actually knit it right back. So we'll see about that.
So I just cast it on a brioche hat to take with me, just in case.
Well, you have to meet me 12 o'clock on Saturday.
I
The podcaster hill there. So if any of you guys are going there, I would love to see you there. I'm going to be there with Steven Weber. He's, my God, like why I keep forgetting everybody's channel names. So his is something Yarncast, if anybody remembers. So anyway, Steven and
Mingled
Yarncast. So yeah,
that's the plan.
We've been friends for quite a few years, and it's became a tradition to meet him there on the hill. And Martin, one year you have to come, and we're going to be there all together. And last year I met Emmy there on the hill, so it was lovely to see her in real life. Hannah, do you want to join us?
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm also done with the clue.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah, it's a little blurry. I see. Yeah.
Just hold it like right in front of you, and then it should focus.
So
It's beautiful.
yeah.
That color palette.
Yeah.
You did 2 brioche sections, right?
Yes, I did 2 brioche. It worked very well. Yeah, and I also have this much yarn left, so I'm not that short in yarn like you, Irina.
I'm a very loose knitter, like I know that, and so like it doesn't surprise me, but I also don't mind an enormous shawl because I feel like you can just wrap it like one extra time. Like somehow, like I've never met a shawl that was too big.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this clue?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun, and it reminded me something. I also knitted Stephen's shawl, Bubbles and Brioche. So yeah, it really reminded me about that shawl.
So what's your prediction? Where are we going, up or down next clue?
I think
Up stitches or continue?
there's one yarn still connected to the outside, so I think we will go there, but maybe a direction change, so we do now the border and the next time inside. Maybe
I've not done that before. Do the outer edge, then come back in the middle.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea, actually.
Because there must be a reason we should break the contrast color. Otherwise, if he's going outside more and more, yeah, we can continue carrying it with us.
Huh. That's a good point. He doesn't do anything without a purpose, right? So if he
with the yarn still attached, the other option is that you come down this side.
Yeah,
so you pick up stitches on the side to come down the inside edge.
But there is I-cord there.
Yeah. So
only on that tiny set. They're only there because that's when you then get to the. I don't know.
Yeah, this is I-cord. It's nice looking edge. So I don't know. Let's see tomorrow.
So, yeah, because I haven't got the final brioche section yet.
Okay, I guess we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Annie, do you want to join us?
I ended up ripping out an entire section of brioche.
Oh no, why?
And starting over. So I am now on my first bobble, which are much tighter, which is nice. And I also am finding I'm getting shoulder problems and elbow. So I don't know. I may end up being behind, but that's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Do you think it's because it's getting heavy?
Doesn't bother me. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's maneuvering it or something, but I'm getting like popping in my shoulder and it hurts to sleep. So I've been like doing a little bit, putting it down, you know, stretching. So yeah, I mean, whatever it is. So anyway, I'm happy with it. I love this Bluefinch, it's called. By, is it pronounced King? Q-I-N-G?
Ching.
Anyway,
King.
I'm really loving it. But
Are you
it is
gonna,
big.
gonna use mohair?
Huh?
Are you gonna use mohair?
I didn't have any on hand. So I just decided to leave it alone. Then I started looking through my stuff and I found that in one of my bags, I had bought some stuff from the 60s, like a big grab bag of somebody's grandma's stuff. And there are like 4 different colors of mohair in there. And I think there's one, it's kind of a cranberry that I might be able to stick in somewhere else, but we'll see.
Okay. So Barb says that she thinks we just did the border include 2 and we'll do I-cord bind off with the main color and then switch to the other side.
I have no ideas.
I have a feeling you're not that lucky.
It just kind of, it already hangs like a shawl. So
Yeah.
I don't know how else he would go in a modular fashion. Because like when you did your reveal of your clue 2, you had it over a mannequin. It looked like a lovely shawl. Right. I would be happy just doing the same thing again with the brioche.
Well, Martin and Amy also, in you guys are more experienced with like how many shawls you've done. Do you remember like what's the most stitches that you had to bind off for Steven's shawl? Like because right now we're at what, like 4 and something?
Slip Stravaganza, I think, was my biggest. That was 800, 850, something like that for the bind off.
Oh my God.
There's one that I've done that's been over 1,000. So
there is still room to grow, basically.
Yeah. I was going to say something to you, Annie, about pain because when I was doing a lot of brioche knitting, I started to get a lot of pain in my arm and in my shoulder and up here. And what I found, I don't know if you are a continental knitter or a kind of a thrower.
Oh.
Yes, I'm a throw as well. So what I discovered was that throwing for my brioche pearls is fine because your yarn is always at the front of your work. But when you're doing brioche knits, you're having to bring your work constantly from the front to the back, from the front to the back. And there's something about that action that then kind of creates something in your wrist, which then creates arm pain. So what I actually have done is I've taught myself how to do my brioche knits continental. So now I throw my brioche pearls and I pick my brioche knits. And that means that I'm not bringing my yarn to the front and the back all the time. And so it means that I'm not getting the pain from the brioche. So I just wanted to share that as a tip, just in case.
Okay, I'll try that. I was trying to do, because my arm was hurting so bad. I didn't want to stop knitting. And so I was trying to switch up how I was doing it. I was looking at like Arne and Carlos did that thing where they had you so close to your knitting and it was supposed to be less stressful. And I was trying to do that, but then it just started hurting worse because I was using different muscles. So I just, like I said, when I start the brioche again in about a row, then I'll do what you said. I'll try to do those continental, or just be more aware of.
Yeah, it might actually be also easier to do because like I know that like for Fair Isle, for example, I do that. I need one hand with continental and one hand drawing,
Yes.
and it's just easier and faster on my hands. So it might actually be a great tip. Yeah.
I'll try it. Definitely, because this is painful.
Right. No,
I'm not enjoying it.
take care of yourself.
I will. Thanks.
Isabel, do you want to join us?
Yes, I'm ready. So I finished clue 2. And as Martin was saying about the rightness of the bubbles, they don't align, they don't intermingle in the middle, but it's too late. So because I don't see it, it will be okay. I am also there are some mistakes in the brioche, but it's too late also. To make myself forgiven yesterday while waiting for the next clue. I practiced.
Yay!
One, it will be better.
No, for sure.
And have you done an eyelet row? So you did a brioche row, then an eyelet row?
Yes, because I thought the eyelet attracts me also very much. Of
It's
course,
really
I wanted to try to do the brioche, which I can show you the other side. I have a dark blue and a clear blue. I love it. I really love it. So yes, eyelet, yes, was, I wanted to do both. That's okay. And I see lots of people do both. To answer Irina's question, this is what I left of my clear color and my dark color, main color and clear color, which is 8 grams, 25 and 13 grams.
Yeah, I like saying that I'm a woman of loose knitting habits. So
You 3 grams left.
it's demonstrated right here. Do you have any predictions about the next clue?
The thing about the slim border at the end, he doesn't say cut your thread, cut your yarn. So to me, we are going to keep on where the needle is, where the live stitches are. So I don't know, and to me, where there is an I-cord, it's over. It's not, we're not going sideways. It's already very, very, very wide.
Right.
So my wish, that's not my will. I wish he could do like a cowl up there with like, and then it makes like a capelet, you see?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
an interesting idea.
A shawl capelet. This is my, when you started asking that question, I was answering in my head and I thought, oh, this would be nice. Oh, this would be nice.
And it's
But
funny because like last time he did that, like when we were thought we're done with the shawl, right? And then he had that bottom thingy on the bottom there.
yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
we're gonna have something similar this year. Who knows? Well, thank you.
And my biggest finishing will be my Slipstravaganza blanket with almost 2,000 stitches. So 800, it's nothing.
But I love the blankets. They look amazing, but I'm never going to make one.
Oh, yes.
One day, one day.
But
Thank you very much.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but is it Lone? Can you join us?
Am I here?
Here we go. Hi.
Yeah. Oh, that's my first time here in Zoom. So
Welcome.
I
How
have
do you
to-
pronounce your name?
Lone.
Lune. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Welcome.
So-
So how is your show going?
Oh, I'm nearly done by clue 2.
I love those colors.
I only have 3 rounds to do. So then I'll be ready for tomorrow.
Perfect.
Any
That's
predictions?
What?
Any predictions for tomorrow?
I think like I don't remember her name, but I think we will bind off shortly, and then I think we will start at the bottom and do something there.
And have
I
you
think-
done a lot of shawls by Stephen West?
I have 3. I did the last year and the Slips Extravaganza, and then I have Twist and Turn that's not done quite yet.
Right.
So yeah, and a lot of other shawls, but yes. And I only have this left.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like on the smallest amount of yarn.
Yes, I always that's not much. I think when my 3 rounds are done, there will not be much left of this one.
Right. Yeah.
So
Enrique, do you wanna join us?
Hi,
Hi.
you can hear me,
Yes.
Yep.
but I don't see you anymore. Okay. I'm almost done with the clue.
Mm-hmm. Also, you changed the colors
I
of the
made-
bubbles, right?
Yeah,
Ah.
because I was bored a little bit of the color, not the knitting part, but yeah, I had the Autumn Mystery Kit from Life in the Long Grass,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like the color, but it is a little bit more Christmassy because the peppermint green. But
Yeah.
it's so, and I have like a real bright tangerine orange mohair.
That's
So I did it with the green because with the red it's not that visible, and I like to see my mohair because why not? And I think my prediction is it's like the building block show. It's like more like a color show. Well, I mean, with show something smaller than a big one. I don't know the term in English because for us in the Netherlands it's sjaal. It's a rectangular, like Doctor Who sjaal.
Oh,
What?
scarf.
A scarf. The building block is a little bit more like a scarf. So because it's already so long, so I think it's maybe like a little bit more on the live stitches, but I think this it's gonna be more embellished because it had to stay on your shoulder like this. So I think it's more like a scarf because the building blocks was also like a small long. So I don't think it's going to be really big show. I think it's more like a scarf kind of thing. Cape-like.
In the extras with the kit, there was the little shawl pin that is a semicircle. So I think I've just convinced myself that it's going to be a semicircle and it's going to be like shawlography. But absolutely.
Yeah, but then it's more like the hybrid knit along last year and the year before. This was also the semicircles with about 900 I could bind off, but I don't think this is going to be like that. Because that's the thing we already done a couple of times.
It could have been a clue. It could absolutely be sending us on a wild goose chase that we've got no idea. In my head.
Well,
we're doing
it's
this.
nice to talk about it. But it's always different than when we all say things like, oh no, it's this, or no, we're gonna do wings. So like a cape, like a Superman cape.
Right.
But I really like the idea of Isabel from France, like an upcoming thing. I really like that suggestion, like a color.
Cape, yeah.
Yeah. I like dramatic things, so I don't mind. I wear it.
Right.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Catherine, do you want to join us?
Hi, yeah, I think I showed mine last time. I'm in the minority because I didn't do the brioche. I did all the eyelet options. And my mohair, I don't know if you could show on here, it's actually a variegated mohair, but it's closest to my main color.
Yeah.
So because of that, I changed the garter sections that's within the eyelets. I changed that to the contrast color so that it would show up on there. So I am only a couple of rows, and so I'm hoping I can be done with this clue, ready to start the next one tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you're almost there. I actually really like the look of it. I think part of the issues I just went with eyelets because it's like a really sort of eye-catching look.
And I love the way you strike the colors in the eyelets, so it makes the eyelets look different to someone that's done block color as well. So I really like those customizations. They're great.
Martin,
thanks. Yeah, I did it. I'd actually have done brioche before, but the reason I didn't was when he said it was with mohair. I've only done brioche once before, and I thought I could do it, but it was just going to take me so long that I'd be here till January. So that's why I decided on the eyelets.
Martin, were you tempted at any point to do the second thing in eyelets instead of brioche?
No, I was always going to do the brioche. The one I did consider was switching the colors because I think a few people have messaged me about that, and I know a few have done it. But I think because my main color is so vibrant, I wasn't sure that then having the green so pronounced, because on the reverse, I actually think where you've got the reverse stockinette, the back of the shawl is almost green now with the black mohair. But you can see the reverse of the bubbles, the reverse of the stockinette. I like that I've almost got a green and a pink, and I thought it would be too jarring to switch the colours around and just have this black stripe, because you don't know where it's going. I didn't want to just switch it around and then have the black stripe. So I really like that the pink is really dominant.
Yeah. No, it's really pretty. I like it a lot. Amy, can I bring you back for just a second? And Catherine, thank you. I just want to thank you for joining us today because you made it extra special and sharing your tips. It was like really lovely to have you as a guest of our little world, to have another YouTube podcaster with us. So thank you so very much. It was so lovely to see you, even if virtually. And I hope one day all of us get together on that Rhinebeck hill.
Oh, yes.
Some
I
time
look
together.
forward to that.
I actually wanted to ask you one last question. So I finished my Rhinebeck sweater. And as I finished it, I decided that I'm not going to publish this pattern because I don't want to deal with the grading of it. The neckline is a nightmare to write down. Like, I hardly even remember what I did that. It was complete improvisation. You published a couple patterns in the last year or two also, like you are the budding designer, like as I did this year. Do you have any design plans on your needles?
I do. I just need to actually sit down and write up the pattern. So currently I've got about 3 or 4 designs which are knitted and the notes are all scrawled in notepads, but but they need to find their way into a more regular typed up form, and then I need to knit them again and yeah, see if they actually work out. But yeah, I do have plans. I've got a couple of shawls. There's a hat project. I actually did a sleeveless summer top as well, so obviously that won't be coming out anytime soon.
I mean, you mentioned that you like embrace your pace when it comes to the MKAL. Are you embrace your pace as a designer as well?
Yeah, well, there's certainly parts of the design process I like better than others. So, you know, I do love kind of the designing on my needles part, and really kind of going with my creativity. And if I've got a lot of ideas bubbling away, I can find that quite frustrating because I obviously only have one set of hands. So but yeah, I think that's the part of the designing that I really enjoy the most. having to sit down and do the pattern writing part, somewhat less so.
I mean, I wonder if there is a single designer out there who actually likes writing those patterns, you know, and who wouldn't prefer just knitting them away and like hoping that somebody can figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, I need to get like a wee chip or something in my brain so I can just like, you know, just do all of my needles and then, you know, export, and then it'll be on Pages or something. That'd be excellent.
If there are any technological experts out there, this is an idea. Like have some AI follow our brain waves and write that pattern down. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
How can people find you on Ravelry?
Oh, well, you'll find me as Amy Palko, AMYPALKO. I'm Amy Palko on almost everything. So you'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on Instagram, and you'll find me on YouTube and Ravelry, all as Amy Palko.
Yeah, guys, you have to check out Amy's designs because they inspired by Scotland, right? Like, would you say so? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being our special guest today. Just as a reminder, we're not going to have the Humans of Westknits this Saturday, but we're going to come back to it on Wednesday at 12 as usual. So I hope you guys can join us, and thank you so much for sharing your progress with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Martin, best of luck with catching with that clue.
Come on. I've got an hour and a half on my...
You can do it.
But I'm going to sit on the sofa.
Enjoy your knitting, and until next time, happy crafting, guys.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.